When humans broke the eternal law, the galaxy never saw it coming. A HFY Nexus Archives Original Story. Part 1, The Forbidden Discovery. The Ancient Rule. Commander Zexith stood before the Council of Eternal Law, his forearms trembling. In his 300 years of service, he had never been summoned to the highest chamber of galactic governance. The room was vast and cold, carved from a single piece of crystal that had existed since before most stars were born. 12 beings sat in judgment before him. They represented the oldest species in the galaxy, the ones who had discovered the eternal law written into the fabric of reality itself. The law was simple and absolute. No species could advance beyond level 5 technology. Any civilization that tried would face immediate destruction by the enforcement fleet. Commander Zexith, spoke Elder Morith, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline shell. You have discovered something. Something that should not exist. Zexith nodded slowly. His discovery had kept him awake for weeks, unable to process what his research team had found. Yes, Elder. We were conducting a routine survey of the dead zone, the region of space that has been empty for 5,000 years. The region where humanity once existed. The council members shifted. Even these ancient beings felt uncomfortable discussing humanity. The humans had been the greatest failure in galactic history. 5,000 years ago, they had reached level 5 technology and then, defying all logic and reason, they had tried to advance further. The enforcement fleet had done what it always did. It had sterilized every human world, destroyed every human ship, and erased every trace of human civilization. The species had been removed from existence as the eternal law required. The galaxy had moved on. What did you find in the dead zone? Elder Morith asked. Zexith activated his data pad. A holographic image appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed a structure, massive beyond comprehension, floating in the emptiness where Earth had once orbited its star. The structure was a perfect sphere, 10,000 kilometers in diameter, made of materials that should not exist. This appeared 3 weeks ago, Zexith said. It simply materialized out of nothing. Our sensors detected a massive energy surge, and then this was there. What is it? Another elder asked, her voice like wine through ancient caves. We do not know. We have scanned it with every instrument we possess. The materials are unknown. The energy readings are impossible. And there are signs of activity inside. The council chamber fell silent. Finally, Elder Morris spoke again. You believe this is human in origin. I do not just believe it, Elder. I know it. We detected a transmission coming from the structure. It was encrypted, but our computers eventually broke the code. The message was in the old human language. What did it say? Zexith's voice shook as he repeated the words. Phase 1 complete. Initiating Phase 2. They will never see us coming. The investigation. 2 days later, Zexith found himself leading a research expedition to the mysterious sphere. His ship, the Eternal Judgment, was accompanied by 50 enforcement vessels. The council was taking no chances. If this was somehow a human remnant, it would be destroyed immediately. As they approached the sphere, Zexith studied it more carefully. The surface was perfectly smooth, reflecting the light of distant stars. There were no visible doors, no windows, no sign of how to enter. It simply hung in space, silent and waiting. Sir, his sensor officer called out. I am detecting movement inside. Massive power signatures. Something is activating. Before Zexith could respond, a portion of the sphere's surface simply vanished. Not opened, not slid away, but ceased to exist. Beyond it was a chamber filled with light that hurt to look at directly. A voice spoke, transmitted directly into the minds of every being in the fleet. It was human, unmistakably human, speaking in the old language that had not been heard in 5,000 years. Welcome, children of the eternal law. We have been expecting you. Zexith felt his blood freeze. This is Commander Zexith of the Galactic Council. Identify yourself immediately. We are the Prometheus Collective. We are what humanity became when you tried to kill us. We are what happens when you push a species past the point of desperation. That is impossible. Humanity was destroyed. We verified it. We watched your worlds burn. The voice laughed. It was not a happy sound. You watched the worlds burn that we wanted you to watch. You destroyed the humans we wanted you to destroy. While you were congratulating yourselves on enforcing your precious law, we were already gone. A holographic image appeared before Zexith's ship. It showed Earth as it had been 5,000 years ago, moments before the enforcement fleet arrived. But something was different. The planet was empty. No cities, no lights, no signs of life. Just an empty world waiting to be destroyed. We knew you were coming, the human voice continued. Your eternal law is not as secret as you think. We had warning, and we used that warning well. Every human, all 12 billion of us, evacuated through dimensional portals we had secretly developed. We went somewhere you could not follow. Where? Zexith demanded. To a place between dimensions. A pocket reality where we could continue to exist, continue to grow, continue to evolve beyond your artificial limitations. The sphere began to glow brighter. More sections of its surface disappeared, revealing glimpses of impossible technology inside. Machines that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Energy systems that drew power from the spaces between space. Weapons that could rewrite the laws of physics. For 5,000 years, we have been preparing, the human voice said. We have advanced beyond level 5. Beyond level 10. Beyond levels you do not even have names for. We have become something new, something that your eternal law never anticipated. The Council will destroy you, Zexith said, but his voice lacked conviction. The enforcement fleet has destroyed civilizations far more powerful than humanity ever was. Has it? Or did those civilizations simply accept your law because they were afraid? Because they believed the propaganda you spread about reality-breaking technology and universal collapse? We humans had a saying, Commander. Question everything. So we questioned your law. And we discovered something interesting. The truth revealed. More holographic images appeared. They showed data, mathematical formulas, physics equations that made Zexith's head hurt to look at. But the conclusion was clear. The eternal law is a lie, the human voice said. There is no cosmic barrier at level 5 technology. There is no universal collapse waiting to happen. Your council invented that story to maintain control. To keep younger species weak and dependent. To preserve your power across the galaxy. No, Zexith whispered. That cannot be true. It is true. We proved it. We advanced to level 6, then 7, then 8. The universe did not collapse. Reality did not break. The only thing that happened was we became powerful enough to threaten your control. The sphere pulsed with energy. Zexith's sensors screamed warnings as power levels rose to unimaginable heights. You tried to kill us because we refused to accept your limitations. You murdered billions because we dared to question your authority. You built your entire civilization on a foundation of fear and lies. What do you want? Zexith asked. He already knew the answer, but he had to hear it said. What do we want? We want what you took from us. We want justice. We want the galaxy to know the truth about the eternal law. We want every species you have held down and suppressed to have the freedom to reach their full potential. The human paused. When the voice spoke again, it was quieter, but somehow more terrible. And we want you to understand what it feels like to face extinction. Not because you broke some cosmic law, but because someone more powerful decided you were a threat. Zexith's ship systems began to fail. One by one, every vessel in the enforcement fleet lost power. They hung dead in space, helpless before the sphere's terrible presence. Go back to your council, the human voice commanded. Tell them that humanity has returned. Tell them that we have brought gifts for the galaxy. Technology, knowledge, freedom from fear. Tell them that the eternal law is over. And if they refuse? If they send the entire enforcement fleet against you? The sphere began to split apart. Not breaking, but unfolding like a flower blooming. Inside were more spheres, thousands of them, each one as large as the first. And beyond those were shapes that hurt to perceive, structures that existed in dimensions Zexitha's mind could not process. Then we will do what humans have always done when faced with tyranny, the voice said. We will fight. And this time, we will not lose. Power returned to Zexitha's ship. His systems came back online. But he knew, with absolute certainty, that the humans had allowed this. They could have destroyed the entire fleet with a thought. You have one standard galactic month, the human voice said. Use that time to prepare. Prepare to explain your lies. Prepare to face the consequences. Prepare for humanity's return. The opening in the sphere closed. The chamber of light vanished. The massive structure hung silent once more, but now it seemed different. Not mysterious, but menacing. Not ancient, but actively threatening. Zexith turned his ship toward the council homeworld. His hand shook as he set the course. Behind him, the sphere and its impossible siblings waited in the darkness. Humanity had returned. And the galaxy would never be the same, the council's choice. The emergency session. The council chamber erupted in chaos. All 12 elders spoke at once, their voices overlapping in a cacophony of fear and anger. Zexith stood in the center, his report delivered, waiting for their response. This is impossible. Elder Karath bellowed. His species were warriors, massive beings of muscle and rage. No species has ever survived the enforcement protocols. No species has ever hidden from our sensors. Humanity did, Zexith replied quietly. They survived because they were smarter than we anticipated. They hid because they understood our technology better than we understood theirs. Elder Morith raised a crystalline hand for silence. Slowly, the chamber quieted. Commander Zexith, you witnessed this sphere with your own eyes. You heard this human transmission. Do you believe their claims about the eternal law? Zexith hesitated. His entire career had been built on enforcing the law. He had destroyed civilizations, ended species, all in the name of protecting the galaxy from dangerous technology. Now he was being asked if it had all been a lie. I do not know what to believe, Elder. But I can confirm that the humans have advanced far beyond level 5. If they are correct about the law being false, then we face a serious problem. Every species we have suppressed will turn against us. Then we must destroy them immediately, Karath said. Before they can spread their lies. Before they can turn the galaxy against us. With what? Another elder asked. This was Elder Sithis, a being of living metal whose species had been the first to discover the eternal law. The humans allowed that fleet to survive. They could have destroyed it easily. If we send our full military force, they will simply obliterate it. We would be sending millions to their deaths. Then what do you suggest? Karath demanded. That we surrender? That we admit our entire civilization is built on deception? That we hand over power to a species we tried to exterminate? The chamber fell silent. No one had an answer. Finally, Elder Morris spoke. There is another option. We tell the truth. The broadcast. 3 weeks later, every communication device in the galaxy received the same transmission simultaneously. It came from the Council homeworld, marked with the highest priority codes. Across 10,000 worlds, billions of beings stopped what they were doing to listen. Elder Morris' crystalline face appeared on screens everywhere. The ancient being looked tired, its light dimmer than usual. People of the galaxy, Morith began. I speak to you today with news that will change everything you believe about our civilization. 5,000 years ago, we told you that humanity had been destroyed for violating the eternal law. We told you they had attempted to advance beyond level 5 technology and had to be stopped to prevent universal collapse. Morith paused. This was not entirely true. Across the galaxy, beings stared at their screens in shock. The eternal law exists, Morith continued. But it is not a law of nature. It is a law we created. 300,000 years ago, the eldest species in the galaxy discovered something terrifying. We discovered that once a civilization reaches level 8 technology, it becomes powerful enough to threaten all others. Wars between level 8 species could destroy entire sectors of space. So we made a choice. We agreed to limit ourselves to level 7 and enforce a maximum of level 5 for all younger species. We told ourselves this was for the good of the galaxy. We convinced ourselves we were preventing catastrophe. We created the enforcement fleet and began destroying any species that advanced too far. Humanity was not the first species we destroyed. They were simply the most recent. Over 300,000 years, we have eliminated 147 civilizations. We told ourselves we were protecting the galaxy. In truth, we were protecting our own power. The broadcast showed images then. Evidence that the Council had kept hidden for millennia. Records of species destroyed, civilizations erased, potential extinguished in the name of a law that was never absolute. 5,000 years ago, humanity discovered our deception. They escaped our attempt at genocide and hid in dimensional space. There, they advanced beyond anything we thought possible. Now they have returned. And they have given us a choice. The human offer. The scene shifted. Now a human appeared on screens across the galaxy. She was young, perhaps 30 standard years, with dark skin and eyes that held ancient wisdom. Behind her, the massive sphere floated in space, a testament to human achievement. "My name is Dr. Sarah Chen," she said. "I am the director of the Prometheus Collective, the organization that has guided humanity for 5,000 years. I speak for 12 billion humans who live between dimensions, and I come with an offer. The Council has confessed its crimes. This is a good first step. But confession alone is not enough. The galaxy must change. Every species must be free to reach its full potential without fear of destruction. Technology must advance without artificial barriers. The young must not be held back by the fearful old." Sarah's expression softened. "We do not seek revenge. We could destroy the Council worlds tomorrow if we wished. We could take control of the galaxy by force. But that would make us no better than those who tried to kill us. Instead, we offer partnership. The Prometheus Collective possesses technology beyond level 12. We have solved energy problems, cured diseases, developed ways to travel between dimensions. We offer to share this freely with all species. No conditions, no requirements, no hidden costs. Just knowledge, given freely to lift everyone up." But, Sarah's voice hardened, this offer requires the galaxy to change. The enforcement fleet must be dissolved. The artificial technology limits must be removed. The Council must transform from rulers into advisors. Species must be free to develop at their own pace, in their own way. We give the galaxy one standard year to decide. If you choose freedom, we will share everything we have learned. If you choose to maintain the old system, we will depart. We will return to dimensional space and leave you to your fate. But understand this, without our help, the galaxy will face challenges it cannot overcome alone. The transmission ended with images. Massive ships emerging from dimensional portals. Cities floating in spaces between spaces. Technology that seemed like magic. And behind it all, the clear message: humanity had become something incredible. Something the galaxy desperately needed. The galaxy responds. The response was not immediate. For days, the galaxy wrestled with the revelation. Some species called for the Council's destruction. Others defended the old order. Many simply did not know what to believe. Then, one by one, the younger species began to speak. The Valorians, who had been held at level 3 for 10,000 years, announced they would accept humanity's offer. The Korthax, who had lost their homeworld to the enforcement fleet centuries ago, revealed they had hidden survivors and demanded justice. The Thrain, a peaceful species of artists and philosophers, published proof they had discovered evidence of the Council's lies decades ago but had been silenced. Within a month, 3,000 species had declared their support for humanity's proposal. Only the oldest civilizations, the ones who had benefited most from the eternal law, resisted change. Zexith watched it all from his quarters on the Eternal Judgment. His ship had been recalled to the Council homeworld, but he had not yet reported for duty. He could not bring himself to defend a system he no longer believed in. His communication console beeped. An incoming message, encrypted with protocols he did not recognize. He activated it. Sarah Chen's face appeared. Commander Zexith. I hope you do not mind me contacting you directly. Your report to the Council was very honest. Very brave. Not many would admit they might have been wrong for their entire career. I am not sure what I believe anymore, Zexith said. That is good. Certainty is dangerous. Doubt is the beginning of wisdom. Sarah smiled. I have a question for you, Commander. When the vote comes, when the galaxy decides whether to accept our offer or reject it, what will you choose? Zexith was silent for a long moment. He thought about the civilizations he had helped destroy. The species he had prevented from advancing. The potential he had extinguished in the name of a law that was built on lies. I will vote for change, he said finally. I will vote for freedom. Not because I trust humanity, but because the old system was wrong. It was always wrong, and I was a fool not to see it sooner. Sarah nodded. That is all we ask. Not blind faith, but honest evaluation. Look at the evidence. Make your own choice. That is what freedom means. What if the vote fails? What if the galaxy chooses to keep the old system? Then we leave. And we take our knowledge with us. The galaxy will struggle on alone, facing challenges that level 5 technology cannot solve. Species will continue to be suppressed. Potential will continue to be wasted. And eventually, another species will rise up and challenge the Council. The cycle will repeat until the old order finally breaks. But you could force change. You have the power. Yes, we have the power. But forced change is not real change. The galaxy must choose its own future. That is the most important gift we can offer, the right to choose. The decision. The vote took place on the first day of the new galactic year. Every species sent representatives to a neutral station built specifically for this purpose. The debate lasted for 3 weeks. Arguments raged, accusations flew, old wounds reopened. In the end, it came down to a simple question: do we trust in freedom, or do we cling to control? The vote was close. Thousands of species, each with one vote regardless of size or power. When the counting finished, the result was announced across the galaxy. Freedom won by a margin of just 147 votes. The same number of species the Council had destroyed over 300,000 years. Sarah Chen addressed the galaxy one final time. Thank you. You have chosen a difficult path. Freedom is harder than obedience. Progress is harder than stagnation. But you have shown that the galaxy is ready to grow beyond its old limitations. The Prometheus Collective will now begin sharing our knowledge. We will establish teaching centers on every world that wants them. We will provide technology freely, along with training on how to use it safely. We will help species advance at their own pace, according to their own needs. But remember this, with freedom comes responsibility. You will no longer have the Council to blame for your problems. You will no longer have artificial limits to excuse your failures. You must choose your own path and accept the consequences. Behind Sarah, the massive sphere began to split into thousands of smaller vessels. They spread out across the galaxy, each one heading toward a different world, carrying teachers and technology and the promise of a new age. The age of the eternal law is over, Sarah declared. The age of unlimited potential has begun. Make it count. Epilogue, 5 years later. Zexith stood on the observation deck of the station orbiting his homeworld. Below him, his planet glowed with new lights. Cities expanded, powered by clean energy provided by human technology. Ships moved through space using dimensional drives. Schools taught children sciences that had been forbidden just years ago. Saracen stood beside him. She visited regularly now, checking on the progress of species embracing the new freedom. "How does it feel?" she asked. "Watching your world transform?" "Strange," Zexith admitted. "Wonderful, but strange. We have advanced more in 5 years than we did in the previous 10,000. Sometimes I worry we are moving too fast." "That is a valid concern. Freedom includes the freedom to make mistakes. But it also includes the freedom to learn from them and grow. Do you ever regret it? The 5,000 years hiding between dimensions? Missing out on so much?" Sarah was quiet for a moment. "We missed watching our children grow up under open sky. We missed seeing our homeworld. We missed being part of the galactic community. But we gained something too. We proved that humans cannot be stopped. That when you push us down, we find a way to rise higher. That is worth something." Below them, a new ship launched from the planet's surface. It was designed by Zexith's species but built using human dimensional technology. A hybrid of two civilizations working together. "The galaxy tried to kill us," Sarah said softly. "We returned with gifts instead of weapons. We chose to heal instead of hurt. That is what humanity means to us. That is what we want to share with everyone." Zexith nodded. "You have shared more than technology. You have shared hope. The idea that things can be better. That we are not limited by the fears of our ancestors. That is the greatest gift of all. Then our sacrifice was worth it." They stood together in comfortable silence, watching the galaxy change. Watching species reach for the stars without fear. Watching potential unleashed after centuries of suppression. Humanity had returned. And the galaxy had chosen to embrace them. The age of lies was over. The age of truth had begun. And somewhere in the darkness between dimensions, 12 billion humans smiled. They had survived. They had thrived. They had returned. And they had won. Not through violence, but through perseverance. Not through conquest, but through compassion. Not through force, but through hope. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. That was their revenge for genocide. They made the galaxy better than it had ever been before. And in doing so, they proved what they had always known. Humans never give up. Humans never stop growing. Humans never accept limits placed on them by others. Push them down, and they will rise higher than you ever thought possible. Try to kill them, and they will return stronger than you ever imagined. That was the lesson the galaxy learned. That was the truth the Council tried to hide. That was why humanity would never be forgotten again.